pregnant wife's incredible journey, exposed secrets of her father's identity transform everything. Sarah stood by her front window, her hands resting on her round belly, marveling at the beauty of her suburban neighborhood. The crisp white picket fences glimmered in the afternoon sun, and the warmth of the aroma from home-cooked meals wafting in through open windows brought her solace. This was her life. She was a dedicated nurse, about to become a mother, surrounded by a community that smiled and exchanged pleasantries as she walked past. Yet, beneath that comfort, something vital stirred a gathering storm she hadn't yet recognized. It all started when she stumbled upon an old photo of her father, taken during a forgotten family reunion. There he stood, flanked by men in military uniforms, smiles bright beneath patriotic banners. "Dad, why haven't you ever talked about this?" she whispered to herself. Eager to unravel the secrecy, she pushed deeper into the fabric of her family's history, and what she found unraveled everything. Her father's past began to surface like dark clouds on an otherwise sunny day. He had been a handyman, respected in their tight-knit community, yet Sarah started to see the cracks in that facade. Her father was not merely a hard-working man, he was a descendant of unsung war veterans, men who faced battles not just on the fields but against the tides of systemic inequality. This realization tore at her heart. The American dream she had always idolized contrived in stark contrast to the struggles that had shaped his life. Torn between familial loyalty and the collective expectations of her community, Sarah was left grappling with a dilemma that felt heavier than her pregnancy. Should she uphold the romanticized version of her father's life, or expose the raw truth he had kept under wraps? Her internal conflict spiraled deeper, especially as she organized a community event to honor veterans. All of her neighbors rallied around this noble cause, yet whispers of doubt began to surface. Some questioned whether her father's past deserved celebration. Their murmurs weaved through the air, igniting a debate that pierced through her heart like a knife. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the day of the event approached, tensions mounted. Memories of her father's unwavering support stationed within her heart, now felt laden with conflict. Each smile shared on her street became a reminder of expectations, of judgment lurking just beneath the surface, waiting for her to slip. What would her neighbors think if they knew? Would they mourn the loss of their ideal handyman, the kind neighbor they thought they knew? In those quiet moments before sleep, Sarah envisioned a future for her child. How could she create a legacy of hope, while shackled to the secrets of their past? The answers eluded her. Questions of dignity, merit, and family unity circled her mind like a relentless storm. Would she have the courage to honor her father, or would silence shroud their story forever? The weight of her decisions hung heavy in the air, thick with anticipation. In this pivotal moment, Sarah found herself at a crossroads, desperate for clarity. Would she choose family loyalty or brave honesty, even when faced with potential scorn? The heart-wrenching truth left her breathless, eager for resolution while fearful of the consequences. The choices she faced were anything but simple, and as the day drew near, her secret, her family's truth, remained dangerously close to the surface. The day of the event dawned, painted in hues of orange and gold as the sun arched above the horizon. Sarah stood in front of the mirror, taking a deep breath. The reflection that stared back was still and serene, yet her heart raced. She wore a navy blue dress that hugged her belly gently, a fabric that symbolized the connection to the past she was both proud of and conflicted about. The community center was bustling with activity, the sound of folding chairs scraping against the wooden floor blended with the chatter of neighbors setting up tables and banners. As she descended the stairs, Sarah noticed the banners hung with care, honoring our heroes. Her father. The very term sent a shiver down her spine. Did these words truly apply to him? The joy in the air was palpable, yet it felt discordant with the turmoil brewing inside her. Her best friend, Lisa, rushed over, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Everyone's so pumped for this. Your dad has done so much for the community. You should be proud." Proud. The word felt heavy. What if they knew the whole story? She whispered, the thought escaping before she could capture it. "What do you mean?" Lisa asked, brow furrowing. The question lingered between them, suspended in the air like the thick humidity of summer. Sarah wanted to confide, to share the internal battle raging within her heart, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, she offered a weak smile, clutching her belly tighter as if to bring some comfort. As guests began to arrive, more familiar faces joined in the chaos. The laughter of children playing outside mingled with the soft tunes from a local band. Yet inside, each cheer felt like a reverberation of her fear. Could she truly stand in front of everyone, celebrate her father's contributions, while knowing the shadows of his truth lingered in the corners? The moment came sooner than expected as the local mayor approached her, a broad smile plastered on his face. "Sarah, are you ready to kick this off? It'll be a great day for the community and for your dad." She nodded, her throat tightening. "Yeah, I think so." As she stepped to the podium, the crowd quieted, eyes trained on her. "Thank you all for coming today to honor our veterans," her voice rang out, steady at first. The familiar faces encouraged her. But a deeper truth started clawing at her insides. This was more than just a speech, it was the moment she had been dreading. She looked out over the sea of expectant faces, and a weight pressed down. For a fleeting moment, her eyes met the gaze of an older man at the back, his face creased in thought, and it struck her a realization dawning in the flicker of a heartbeat. He wore a military cap. Was he one of those veterans who had battled alongside her father, fighting not only for a country but for equity? For a chance to be heard? The question settled deeper. Shaking off the uncertainty, she plunged ahead. "I'm proud to present my father today." The words hung thickly in the air. But this isn't only about his past. It's about every person who fights for recognition, not just for the battles won, but for the stories left untold. A stir swept through the crowd, murmurs of surprise danced like sparks in the air. What had she just unleashed? The storm within her had transformed into a tempest of emotion, swirling with hope and fear. A mixture of pride and vulnerability filled her chest as she looked upon the faces that shaped her life. Would they embrace the truth, or would they recoil in anger? As their expressions shifted, from surprise to contemplation, Sarah knew at that moment she had stepped into uncertain waters, facing the depth of her family's legacy and her father's truth. Would she find acceptance in the tides of her community, or would she face the fierce winds of disappointment? The day had only begun, and she was trembling on the edge of revelation. The crowd was electric, a buzz of whispers filling the air. Sarah could feel their eyes piercing through her, each gaze heavy with unspoken questions. She took a deep breath, her mind racing to navigate this unexpected turn of events. It was supposed to be a day of celebration, but here she was, standing defiantly with the truth on the edge of her tongue. "Today," she continued, her voice growing steadier, "we gather not only to honor our veterans but also to acknowledge their struggles, their stories, the sacrifices made." The murmuring intensified, her words like kindling to a fire. She could see Lisa at the front, eyes wide with concern and pride, while the older man in the back, the one with the military cap, leaned in closer, his expression thoughtful. What if they don't understand? Doubt whispered in her ear, but she pushed the thought aside. She couldn't falter now. "My father, like many, is a hero. But heroes have their flaws, and it's those flaws that shape who we are." Gasps rippled through the crowd, and she could feel the momentum shift. An inkling of hope lit inside her. Maybe, just maybe, they could handle the truth. Maybe they needed to hear it. Growing up, she pressed on, searching for strength through the uncertainty. "I saw my father offer so much to our community. I loved him dearly, but I also felt the burden of secrets." She caught sight of her mother standing at the back, arms crossed, face strained. The tension that had always simmered between them crackled anew, while Sarah's heart ached at the thought of her mother's pain. "Every story deserves to be told, every truth deserves light," she said, her voice rising. "It's time our community hears all the echoes of sacrifice, including my father's." The older veteran's eyes met hers again, and she felt an invisible thread connecting them. This was more than just her family's legacy, it was the collective weight of untold stories. The crowd shifted again, some whispering support, while others seemed taken aback. But hope surged within Sarah. She pressed on, "We can't just honor the victories, we must also embrace the struggles." A figure moved from the back, an unexpected ally. It was James, the town's history teacher, known for his passionate lectures. He cleared his throat loudly, and the attention redirected. "What Sarah speaks of is vital. We've forgot our shared past, the struggles faced by those who returned home, forever changed. It's a truth that resonates across generations." His words struck a chord, and the murmuring softened to respectful attentiveness. Sarah felt another wave of resolve, bolstered by the shared understanding rippling through the crowd. Let us not shy away from the hard truths. Let us embrace the stories that link us, she said, her heart pounding. Her father's face came to her mind then, a mixture of pride and pain etched deep within. Did he know how much had been said today, the walls crumbling under the weight of collective honesty? But then her stomach tightened, an unsettling tension gnawing at her core. What if it's too late? She thought, glancing back at her mother, hoping for a sign of solidarity. But her mother's gaze was fixed on the floor, shoulders tense, as if wrestling with demons of her own. A low murmur began in the crowd again, some clapped while others remained silent. It was a moment both electrifying and terrifying. Sarah's heart raced as emotions clashed in the air around her. Finally, she gathered her breath to deliver the closing words. "I ask each of you to reflect on your own stories, on your own connections, because together, we are stronger. Only then can we truly honor our heroes." Sarah stepped back from the podium, a whirlwind of emotions swirling within. The applause cascaded like music, yet a shadow of doubt loomed over her heart. What lay ahead for her family when the truth of her father's past took center stage? The crowd began to disperse, and Sarah felt the heaviness of 1,000 questions still unanswered. As she searched the faces around her, she wondered, would they reject this newfound honesty, or would they embrace a deeper understanding? Just then, she spotted the old veteran pushing his way through the crowd toward her, determination etched on his face. What does he want? She thought, a mixture of fear and anticipation gripping her. Was he here to celebrate, or did he hold a secret that could change everything? Sarah's heart raced as the old veteran approached. He moved slowly, each step deliberate, as though every moment counted. The weight of the day hung in the air, thick and heavy, and she could feel the curiosity from the crowd shift to silence as they turned their attention to him. "Sarah," he said, his voice gravelly but warm, "I'm glad you spoke out today. It took courage." His hazel eyes shimmered with understanding. "Thank you," she managed, her voice barely above a whisper as she fought to steady her own emotions. Questions danced uninvited in her mind. What more did he know about her father? The old man continued, "You don't know me, but I served alongside your father in the war. He was a good soldier, and a better man on the inside than anyone ever realized." His words sparked a flicker of familiarity inside her. "But people only remember the shiny medals, not the scars beneath," he continued, his gaze unwavering. Sarah felt the warmth of his honesty wrap around her, holding her steady against the tide of uncertainty that threatened to pull her under. But there was more. He paused, looking back at the crowd, many still watching with bated breath. "It's taken years for me to find the right words." Sarah instinctively leaned in, eager for clarity. "Can you tell me what he went through?" she asked, desperation lacing her voice. The depth of her father's hidden struggles remained hauntingly absent in her life, and she craved answers not only for herself but also for her mother, who probably wrestled with the same questions. The veteran took a breath, his expression softening. He didn't come back from the war as the man who left. There were demons. He paused, measuring the gravity of his words. Your father carried burdens, ones he tried to shield from you and the family. Sarah felt the cracks deepen in her heart, realizing her father was indeed more nuanced than the hero she believed him to be. He didn't want you to see him that way, to bear the weight, the man continued. But Sarah, it's important that you know he fought hard. For his country and for his family. As the words hung over her, a flicker of pain ignited. Why didn't he tell us? Why the secrets? The old veteran leaned closer, lowering his voice as though sharing a sacred knowledge. Because he thought protecting you meant keeping his truth buried. Many think that's the way to love, saving their loved ones from pain. A shiver ran down Sarah's spine. How much love was wrapped in the very lies meant to protect them? In that moment, understanding washed over her. The truths they needed most were the same ones they fearfully swept away. For a brief second, she glanced back at her mother still standing alone. Her heart hurt for the woman who had held on to her own truths, suffocating in silence for too long. I appreciate you sharing this, Sarah said quietly, her voice trembling as realization laid itself bare. But, what does this mean for us? For him? For the community? The old man pondered, glancing at the crowd that had once seen her father as simply a hero but remained oblivious to the depths of his struggles. Maybe it's time for more stories to be shared, stories that bring healing rather than shame. Only then can love create a true bond. His words hung in the air, echoes of possibility reverberating within her. Could the community process this honesty? Would her mother? Sarah felt a new determination ignite inside her, fanning the flames of hope. As she met the veteran's gaze, a sense of revolution anchored itself in Sarah's spirit. Maybe it was time to challenge the norms, expose the raw truths of those who fought hard within, and initiate conversations that intertwined vulnerability and growth. Thank you, she said, her voice raw with emotion. I think we all need to hear this. She turned to the crowd, heart full, ready to embrace the complexity of her family's legacy. Gathered in front of her were not just spectators but potential allies on this journey of healing. But just as she began to feel buoyed by the possibility of connection, a familiar voice cut through the crowd. Wait, Sarah. I need to talk to you. It was Lisa, breathless and wide-eyed, weaving through the crowd. A sense of urgency surrounded her, and Sarah's pulse quickened again, an unsettling premonition creeping in. What could possibly be so important that it needed to be said now, in this moment of growing revelation? Sarah's heart raced. Lisa's frantic expression sent alarm bells ringing in her mind. She stepped to the side, creating a small space between them. What happened? She asked, trying to maintain a calm facade even as confusion twisted within her. Lisa halted right in front of her, her breath coming in quick bursts. It's about your father, she blurted out, glancing nervously over her shoulder as if the crowd could hear them. I didn't want to interrupt earlier, but you need to know I found something. What do you mean? Sarah demanded, her voice sharper than she intended. The mention of her father pulled at the threads of her heart, and she could barely contain the urgency swelling inside her. I was going through some old boxes at your house. You know, the ones that hadn't been unpacked since your father passed. Lisa's eyes shimmered with an intensity that captivated Sarah, pulling her in. I found letters. Old letters, from him. Letters? What kind of letters? Sarah felt a flutter of hope mixed with dread. Would they hold the answers she was seeking, or would they complicate her understanding of the father she longed to know? They were from when he was away. They weren't just to your mom. There were pages addressed to you too, Lisa said, her voice trembling. And, some of the things he wrote, they were troubling, Sarah. Troubling how? A knot twisted in Sarah's stomach as the words echoed in her mind. She had already seen so many layers of her father's pain. What could be buried in those letters that would change everything yet again? Things about his past, things he never talked about. Sacrifices he made, decisions he regretted. Lisa's brow furrowed as she struggled to find the right words. He mentioned things about family secrets he tried to protect, things we never knew. They were heavy, Sarah, loaded with emotion. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. Her father, a soldier haunted by his own history, had left more than just memories behind. He had entrusted her with parts of himself he never had the strength to share in person. She could feel the weight of that responsibility begin to settle on her shoulders. "Where are the letters?" she asked, her voice a mix of fear and eagerness. "You should be brought them. I didn't want to take them from your home without telling you. I thought you should see them yourself. But we need to go back. You need to read what he wrote," Lisa urged, her eyes pleading. Now. The urgency of the moment washed over Sarah like a wave. She wanted to stand tall, to face whatever her father had hidden. But was she ready for the truth? Before she could voice her uncertainty, the crowd, a living, breathing entity, swayed, shifting back and forth. A combination of murmurs and whispers swirled around them, a mixture of curiosity and sympathy. They had all just witnessed her moment of courage. Did they sense this new twist forming? "Yes, now," Lisa insisted, stepping back to take Sarah's arm, gently but firmly. "I think this could help us understand him better. Maybe even help the community understand." Sarah looked back at the crowd, whose eyes lingered on her. They were still drawn in, invested in her story, perhaps craving connection just as much as she did. "Okay," she finally breathed out, her heart pounding. "Let us go." As they turned to push through the throng of people, Sarah's mind raced. What truths awaited her in those letters? Would they bring the clarity she desperately needed, or would they unravel everything she thought she knew? With a sense of urgency propelling them forward, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that the real journey was just beginning, and with every step, she was approaching the edge of something profound and life-changing. But as they neared the exit, her phone buzzed in her pocket. Startled, Sarah paused, gripping the phone tightly. Who could be reaching out now? Before she could check, the expression on Lisa's face shifted. "What now?" she asked, worry threading her voice. The unsettling sense of foreboding wrapped around Sarah once more. What other surprises lay ahead? Waiting in the shadows? Sarah's breath hitched as she pulled her phone from her pocket. The screen illuminated her fingers, and for a moment, her heart skipped. The text was from her sister, Jenna. "Got info about Dad. Call me. Urgent." "What is it?" Lisa leaned in, voicing the question that hung heavy in the air. Sarah's heart raced again, torn between the anticipation of reading her father's letters and the impending reveal from Jenna. The weight of her connection to her father and the strained relationship with Jenna collided in her chest. "It's my sister," Sarah said, her voice a whisper. "She wants me to call her. It sounds urgent. Wasn't this your goal? To understand your father?" Lisa's eyes widened with concern and a touch of insistence. "What if it's about the letters?" Taking a deep breath, Sarah's mind spun. Should she prioritize the texts from her father or the urgency from her sister? A pang of guilt tightened her stomach. They all deserved answers, but what if Jenna had forgotten important truths while growing up? "I can't just ignore it, answer it then," Lisa urged, urgency in her tone. "You never know what she might have uncovered." Panic knotted in Sarah's throat. Jenna had always been the one to search for answers while Sarah often shied away from family discussions. This might be what needed to finally bridge the gap between them. Nodding, Sarah pressed the call button. The ringing echoed in the crowded hallway, each second stretching like a rubber band. As she waited, the world around her faded, the noise of the festival dimmed, and it felt like only her heartbeat existed. "Sarah!" Jenna's voice burst through, tinged with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. You need to come home. I think I found out something about Dad that changes everything. What did you find? She asked with a mix of fear and hope, gripping Lisa's arm tightly. It's complicated. I can't explain everything over the phone, but it has to do with our family history. Something he hid from both of us. Jenna's voice was urgent, cracking slightly before steadying. Please just come back home. Let us talk. I need you here. Sarah's heart sunk at the implication. Had their father truly concealed monumental truths? A cold wave of uncertainty swept over her. I'm on my way, she replied, trying to summon strength. When she hung up, the clash of emotions swelled again. What did she say? Lisa asked, sensing Sarah's turmoil. Jenna found something about Dad that, it might change everything. Silence fell, thick and heavy. Do you think it's related to the letters? Lisa asked, biting her lip. What if these things connect? I don't know. Sarah's heart raced anew. She felt the weight of both revelations pulling at her like two opposing forces. Let us go to your house first, read those letters, and then head to Jenna, Lisa suggested, her voice steadying. Understanding your dad might help you digest whatever Jenna's uncovered. No, let us go to Jenna first. If what she found is true, I need to understand this as a whole. I can't separate my father's past from what he left behind. They are intertwined. With a firm resolve, Sarah took a deep breath, eager but wary. The two women navigated through the crowd, Sarah's pace quickening. Each step away from the festival felt like stepping closer to a storm. As they approached the car, a sense of dread mingled with a flicker of anticipation. Was she truly ready for the truths waiting to unfold, or would they unravel her perception of everything she believed about her family? Sarah, Lisa's voice broke through her thoughts, pulling her back. Are you ready for whatever this is? You might discover things you never expected. Sarah nodded, even as doubt shadowed her. Let us find out. But as they hopped into the car, a distant rumble shook the sky, just as storm clouds began to gather above. Whatever awaited her would come crashing down like the impending thunder, and she braced for the storm. What awaited them at home? Would it bring clarity or devastation? The questions twisted like a knife in her gut, but she knew she had to face whatever truths awaited. As the engine roared to life, Sarah felt the pulse of her heartbeat, always forward, into the unknown. The air in the car felt charged, every second ticking away with an urgency that ignited Sarah's nerves. She gripped the steering wheel tight, her knuckles turning white. Lisa sat beside her, silent but brimming with energy, the questions swirling in their minds almost palpable. Do you think it could really be something life-changing? Lisa finally broke the silence, her voice soft but laced with anticipation. I don't know, perhaps it's something I've needed to hear all along, Sarah replied, her stomach twisting like it was caught in a vice. Each mile passing beneath the tires felt monumental. So many unheard stories, buried feelings, and unacknowledged truths were weaving together, pulling her toward an uncertain fate. As they drove into familiar territory, memories flickered in her mind, the laughter of family gatherings, the hushed tones of whispered conversations behind closed doors. Was this how silence grew? From uncomfortable truths buried deep within family histories? Lisa's tone shifted. Whatever our parents hid, it's likely they thought it was for the best. You have to remember that. But did they even consider what it felt like for us? Sarah snapped, a hint of anger mingling with the fear she had for the upcoming revelation. How many times do we brush things under the rug, convincing ourselves that silence is peace? This shouldn't happen again. Lisa reached over and squeezed her hand, grounding her. You'll figure this out. One step at a time. You'll handle whatever it is. Sarah nodded, but dread gnawed at her. They pulled into the driveway, the childhood home looming larger than life, a backdrop for the unfolding drama. The old oak tree in the yard swayed gently in the breeze, but all she could feel was the weight of the impending conversation pressing down on her. Let us go, she said, pushing open the car door. The moment her feet hit the ground, anxiety surged. The house looked just as it always had, but a major shift lay dormant inside it, waiting for her to uncover it. Jenna stood at the door, her expression a mixture of hope and worry. You made it, she exclaimed, rushing forward to embrace Sarah. But the hug felt tentative, as if both sisters were dragging their past alongside them. When you said you found something, what did you mean? Sarah asked, after they pulled apart, biting back the anxious tremor in her voice. I've been doing some digging, Jenna said, leading them inside. You know how Dad wasn't he really open with us? Well, I found papers, things he never mentioned. I think he was trying to protect us from something big. The walls seemed to close in as Jenna shared snippets of her discovery, each word threading fear and curiosity deeper into Sarah's heart. The kitchen table held a stack of old documents, yellowed with age, murmuring of a different life their father had perhaps led aside he never let them see. What was he hiding? Sarah asked, her eyes darting over the papers as if they might hold the key to unlocking everything. Jenna slowly placed her hand on one document, a quiver in her voice. This is only the beginning, Sarah. There are secrets, some related to his family, our family, and I'm not sure how they connect. Her words rattled in the air, heavy and daunting. Sarah's heart raced. Could this really change everything? Could it explain why their family felt so fractured? An unsettling silence lingered. Then, with determination, she asked, what do you mean by that? As Jenna began to explain, a distant thunder rolled outside, a natural echo of the storm brewing within her. It struck Sarah suddenly that this journey wasn't just about her father's past, it was about understanding her own identity and place in this tangled web. And as Jenna spoke, a chill ran through her. What if uncovering these secrets wasn't just an exploration of their father, but a reckoning with their own choices, their relationships, and who they were becoming? Sarah, are you ready for this? Jenna asked, searching her sister's face for reassurance. With a deep breath, Sarah realized that stepping into this revelation meant embracing all the unknowns as well. I guess we won't know until we dive in, she responded, ready to face the shadows of the past that loomed ahead. But before Jenna could finish her next thought, the storm outside whirled demonstratively, and a flash of lightning illuminated a photo on the wall, a picture of their father from years ago, a man they thought they knew. Who was he really? As they turned back to the table, a chill swept through the air. What lay in those documents seemed significant, and she couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to uncover something deeper and irreversible. Would the truth unravel them, or would it somehow bring them closer together? As Jenna gently peeled back the layers of yellowed paper, Sarah felt the atmosphere shift, a tension crawling under her skin. The flickering light from the dim bulb cast shadows that danced across the walls, as if echoing her own internal conflict. The storm outside intensified, mirroring the storm brewing inside her. Look at this, Jenna said, her finger trembling as it traced a name on one of the documents. This is our grandfather, but look what it says here. She gestured to an official-looking paper, an old birth certificate. This man, he's not who we thought he was. Sarah leaned closer, her heart racing. The name was familiar but distorted, like a distant echo of someone she had only heard of in whispers. What do you mean? What do you mean he's not who we thought? Jenna swallowed hard, her voice thick with emotion. It says here he was adopted. That means our family history is more complicated than he ever let on. And there's more. She hesitated, the weight of unspoken truths heavy in the air. What do you mean there's more? Sarah pressed, her mind racing through all the implications. Her father had always spoken with such staunch pride about their family lineage. The knowledge that it might all be built on a lie clenched her chest tight. We're not just talking about a few secrets here, Sarah. There were allegations, things that could have ruined reputations. I think Dad buried these documents to protect us from something. But protecting us from what? Jenna's voice quivered, her gaze darting to the window as if expecting the storm to break in and drag her secrets away. The sound of raindrops hammering against the glass amplified Sarah's dread. "Do you think he knew?" she whispered, the thought sending chills down her spine. "Did he know these truths about our family? Did he and chose to keep us in the dark?" Jenna shook her head, a lone tear slipping down her cheek. "I just don't know. But if he did know, it changes everything, doesn't it? What else could he have kept from us?" Pain and betrayal curled around Sarah's heart like a tight fist. She had always viewed her father as an honest man, a steady presence in a world that often felt chaotic. But what if he wasn't he? What if their entire understanding of family was built on the shifting sands of deception? Another crack of thunder echoed outside, as if the heavens themselves were reacting to their turmoil. Sarah felt her breath quicken, memories flooding her mind, those family dinners filled with laughter, the stories of their ancestors her father had so passionately shared. Were they simply layers covering a much darker reality? "Wait," Sarah said suddenly, feeling a surge of clarity. "If this is just the beginning, then maybe there's a way to find out more. There's bound to be records, relatives we can reach out to. We could make calls, search this out. Are you sure you want to do this?" Jenna interrupted, her voice heavy with concern. "What if it leads us down a path we're not prepared for?" "I need to know, Jenna." "We both do," she asserted, steeling herself for the uncertainty ahead. It wasn't just about their father anymore. It was about them, their future, their identity. What if the answers change how we understand ourselves? There was silence, thick and ripe with unspoken fears, until Jenna nodded slowly, her own determination solidifying. "Okay. But let us be careful. Whatever we find, it could hurt." As Jenna began to organize the documents further, Sarah's mind spiraled. Her father's choices, their family dynamics, the reverberations of truth and lies. Each new fact could unravel everything they thought they knew. "Okay," Sarah said, her voice steadier now. "Let us do this. Let us find our truth." Just as they were about to dive deeper into the documents, another flash of lightning struck, illuminating the room and casting eerie shapes on the walls. Sarah's heart skipped a beat, but there was something else in that moment, a strange feeling of anticipation. What awaited them on this path? Would they find salvation in understanding the shadows of their past, or would it expose wounds too raw to heal? And then, right on cue, the power flickered, plunging the room into darkness. Fear washed over Sarah. Had they awakened something they weren't ready to face? "Sarah?" Jenna whispered, a tremor of uncertainty lacing her voice. "I'm here," Sarah answered, gripping the edge of the table tightly. "But I think we've just crossed a threshold, and there's no turning back now." But the question loomed larger than ever. Could uncovering their family's past breathe life into their future, or would it tear them apart? The silence in the room felt heavy, almost pressing against their chests. The storm outside roared like a wild beast, but inside, it was the deepening darkness that made everything feel more immediate, more intense. Sarah flicked her gaze around, her heart pounding in rhythm with the growing tempest. The shadows cast by the flickering light seemed to flicker in mockery of her fear. "Do you think we should light the candles?" Jenna whispered, her voice only a mere thread against the howling winds outside. "Yeah, good idea," Sarah replied, her voice steady even as her insides churned. She reached for the small drawer in the corner table, the wood cool and familiar beneath her fingertips. A matchbox lay hidden next to a collection of old coins, some dull and rattled. She struck a match and the tiny flame danced to life, illuminating Jenna's uncertain face. As they lit the candles, Sarah felt a sudden urgency. Each flicker revealed more of the papers laid out before them. Their future, intertwined with the past, was hidden amongst those old documents. What if we find something that changes everything? Or worse, nothing at all. "Let us be brave together," Jenna said, her voice raw but resolute. "Whatever it is, we face it." Together, they settled at the table again, the glow of the candles creating a warm halo around them, a fragile cocoon of safety. "So, what's our first step?" Jenna asked, her eyes falling on the stack of papers, each one laden with untold stories. Sarah flipped through the pages, her fingers trembling with a mix of excitement and dread. "We should start with this birth certificate. Maybe we can find out more about who he was before he became part of our family." As she studied the document, words began to peel open layers of fear, curiosity gnawing at her insides. "Here's an address listed. It looks like it's from years ago. Maybe there's someone there who can tell us about him." Jenna leaned in, her brows furrowed in thought. What if it's just a dead end? Or what if they don't want to share anything? Then we don't force it, but we have to try. Sarah's determination solidified. For all we know, there might be relatives who never knew us, a whole history waiting to be uncovered. Jenna nodded, though anxiety flickered across her features. "Okay, we'll start with the address. But if it gets too intense, we stop, right?" "Only if we need to," Sarah reassured her, taking a deep breath. "We're in this together." Just as Jenna reached for her phone, the lights flickered back on, blinding them momentarily. A warmth began to settle in the room, but Sarah could feel the air thicken again, pressing on her chest. The sound of the rain eased slightly, and as they squinted against the light, a striking thought crossed Sarah's mind. What if there are more secrets lurking in those files? Then we find them. "We have to be ready for what's waiting, happy or painful," Jenna said, her voice quiet yet full of resolve. Sarah felt the weight of that statement. A myriad of possibilities filled her mind, setting her heart racing with both fear and excitement. What if their father had hidden more than just an adoption? What if there were things about their family that even Jenna and she couldn't process? But the uncertainty lingered, like a dark cloud, threatening to burst. Together, they took a moment, each taking a breath to steady themselves. "Let's just remember whatever we find doesn't have to change who we are now. It's just pieces of what came before us. We can make sense of it," Sarah said softly, her voice finding strength in the stillness. "Right. We're still us," Jenna replied, the flicker of fear in her eyes softening just a bit. Just as they were sinking back into the rhythm of uncovering truths, the phone buzzed loudly on the table, shattering the quiet resolve. Sarah glanced at the screen. An unknown number. An odd mix of foreboding and hope washed over her. She caught Jenna's eye, each of them questioning what fate had in store for them. "What if it's someone who knows about Dad?" Jenna whispered, breathless with both dread and excitement. "Only one way to find out," Sarah said, heart racing as she reached for the phone. With shaky hands, she answered, knowing that whatever this call revealed could shift their understanding yet again. "Hello." The voice on the other end was deep and gravelly, sending shivers of both fear and curiosity coursing through her veins. "I think you're looking for answers. What could this stranger know? What would it mean for their search?" As the line crackled with intrigue, Sarah held her breath, knowing they were about to take the next leap into the unknown. As the voice resonated through the receiver, Sarah felt her heart thumping in her chest. "What do you mean?" she asked, trying to steady the tremor in her voice. "I know about your father," the voice replied, heavy with secrets and urgency. "And I have information that you need to hear." "Who are you?" Jenna glanced at her sister, eyes wide with curiosity and fear. The call felt like a doorway opening into a darkened hallway, one that could lead to either liberation or devastation. "Just someone who can help you understand. I knew him before everything changed." The words curled around Sarah's mind tightly. "You knew my father? How? What do you mean by before everything changed?" "Meet me. There are things I can't explain over the phone. But trust me, you need to know this. I can help you understand what your father went through." The voice dropped, creating a gravity that made Sarah's decision feel monumental. "Where?" she asked instinctively, surprised at the determination coursing through her, because the fear of ignorance was more profound than the fear of the unknown. Tomorrow at the old diner on Maple Street. I'll be there at noon. Come alone. No, wait. I have questions. But the line was already silent, the unanswered questions swirling like the clouds outside. What was that about? Jenna whispered, her voice trembling with expectation. Do you think you should go? Just you. I don't know, Sarah admitted. Doubt crept in, but the urge to uncover the truth about her father burned even brighter. But I can't ignore this. He might have answers that could change everything. And yet, the thought of walking into that diner alone frightened her. What if this was a trap? What if the revelations would tear apart everything she had just begun to piece together? Even if he knows more, are you ready for it? What if you learn something that shakes your entire view of your family? Jenna's concern was palpable, each word an anchor tethering Sarah to the floor, where uncertainty abounded. I don't know, Jenna, but I need to find out. This could finally bring clarity to our family. As her conviction solidified, Sarah reached for the birth certificate resting on the table. We need to take this one step at a time. The two women decided to delve deeper into the mystery of their father's past, which had felt so secluded until now. With renewed purpose, they examined the documents spread out in front of them. The old birth certificate began to unravel more questions as they searched for links to the past, a name that evoked shadows, a birthplace that felt foreign yet oddly familiar. This is bigger than I thought. If we find who these relatives are, maybe we can approach them. Jenna suggested, excitement flickering in her voice alongside her worry. But before they could continue, Sarah's phone buzzed again. A notification flashed across the screen, a text from Lisa. Hey, just checking in. How's everything? You ready to share the truth? The weight of the moment crashed over Sarah. She realized that not only did she hold her family's legacy in her hands, but she carried the burden of influence not just for herself, but for everyone around her. This wasn't just about her father anymore, it was a call to examine the very structure of their family, to face every shadow it cast. Yet, there was a flicker of hope in the possibility of connection. We will share what we find. It's important, she texted back before tossing the phone aside, turning her full attention back to Jenna. Let us continue this tonight. We need to uncover every detail we can before I meet with him, she said, a fiery determination lighting up her eyes. As darkness fell outside, they combed through every document with fervor, piecing together a tapestry of names and dates, whispers of family secrets that had nearly slipped away into obscurity. Sarah found herself feeling lighter, almost buoyant, as the weight of uncertainty transformed into a rush of discovery. Hours passed, and they barely noticed the time fly by. Look at this! Jenna exclaimed, pointing at a name that lingered just beyond the edges of Sarah's memory. Could this be our great-grandmother? It mentions she had a sister who lived in town. Maybe they could tell us more about Dad's past. Let us go visit her tomorrow, Sarah suggested. We can follow both leads. If tomorrow isn't completely chaotic, we might even piece together the puzzle. With every connection they made, Sarah felt their family solidifying, no longer an unrestrained mass of discrepancies and shadows. The truth, however daunting, would become the foundation upon which they could build anew. As the candles flickered and the winds howled outside, they sealed their resolve: whatever we discover about our father, we will face together. No matter what, Jenna affirmed, their eyes locking with a bond forged through sisterhood and the vulnerabilities that would come with confronting their father's legacy. The dawn would bring more chaos, unanswered questions, and realizations. The storm was fierce, but they felt emboldened. The turbulence of the past would serve as an impetus to define their futures. As they finally set down the papers for the night and said goodnight, Sarah wiped tears from her eyes. It wasn't just about unraveling the past anymore. It was also about their own transformation, embracing every part of their inherited candor. Tomorrow was a new day, one that would write its own chapter and unveil the undeniable truth of who they were. And as she drifted off to sleep, a glimmer of hope pierced the clouds of doubt. They would emerge from the shadows and take back their narrative stronger, bolder, and forever changed. Now, as the moment draws to a close, here's what you need to do. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us continue bringing these transformative tales your way. Comment down below your reactions and feelings about this ending. Let your voice be heard. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting our journey through these actions.